Hello! If you clicked on this video, it's because you too want to learn how to cut out a sky and put in some sort of crazy apocalyptic nonsense into the background. I'm going to show you how in a moment, but first, if you didn't see my video last week, I taught people how to edit in a ghost into some film footage, and as promised, I uploaded that footage into a brand new account on TikTok, and people believed it was real. Okay, so firstly I apologize if this picks up any surrounding noise at all. Yeah, my walls are thin, it's not the best of conditions to film in. My neighbour is currently watching Star Wars and there's a lot of traffic outside. Hopefully it won't pick up the Star Wars because that could cause some YouTube problems. But anyway, this is the footage that I'm going to edit right now. I filmed this just a few days ago. It's a beach down the road from me called Crosby Beach here in Liverpool. These statues are like all over the beach, like dotted around. They're by an artist called Anthony Gormley. I think he's pronounced Anthony, or is it Anthony? I'm not too sure. I want to say Anthony because that's how it's spelled. Okay, so I've opened up my clips in After Effects and I've actually done them individually as the files. You can link Premiere Pro and After Effects together, but I need to do some updates and stuff before I do that. And I couldn't be bothered, to be frank. Okay, firstly, what I want to say to you is I am not a professional editor. I'm just self-taught. I don't work for any film companies or anything. So my technique might be flawed, but I'm still going to show you how I do it and possibly the easiest way with the footage that I have, because it can be done multiple ways. Okay, so my first tip is if you've got a big file that you're working on in After Effects, it can be really difficult to watch back what you're doing. To make life a little bit easier, you might want to put the quality down whilst you're working on it, just to like half or something. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is track this footage, because even though I'm not moving around too much, it is handheld and there is a little bit of wobble there. So yeah, if you don't track this, then it's going to look a bit strange because your sky won't move with what you're looking at. Okay, so there's multiple ways of tracking the footage, but I'm going to do it a fairly easy way, and I'm just going to open up a new null object. A null object is essentially like an invisible robot that just holds on to your data between each layer and just goes, yeah, you can be friends. So yeah, that's my null object. And what I'm going to do next is click the beach footage. I'm just going to track the motion of this here. If you don't have this up here, you can find it in the window. Yeah, I'm going to track the motion. And I'm just going to bring these tracking points up to be bigger, so that it collects more data. I'm going to bring it down to this guy's bum. And I'm going to click rotation. And I'm going to bring that point over here, just for some added help. I am then going to analyze the footage by pressing this little play button here, and sit back and wait whilst it analyzes the footage in the background. Okay, so once you've created your tracking points and it's analysed the footage and such, what you want to do is you want to apply it. So you want to edit the target and you want to make sure that null is selected. And you want to hit OK. And then you just simply want to press apply. Now they've paired up now, so basically the invisible robot is holding the data for where it moves. Moving forward, I'm going to bring the tornado footage down onto the composition. And then I'm just going to click the beach footage again, and I'm just going to bring the opacity down on that, just so we can see the tornado layer underneath. Okay, so then I'm going to click the tornado layer. So then I'm going to click the tornado layer and I'm just going to adjust it to where I want it to be in the clip for when I get rid of the sky. So I'm just going to bring it to right up there. I've also made sure that it just overlaps slightly for where the camera moves. The next thing to do is to give that tornado layer a daddy. Basically, I'm going to use this pick whip, which I love the name of, and bring it over to the null object. So now the footage should move with the original. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see if it works. I'm going to bring that opacity back up now on the beach. And the next trick is to get rid of the sky. Okay, so there's a number of ways you can do this, and it all depends on what you feel comfortable with, what you have the time for to do, and also what the clip is. Now, the easiest technique, which I would use if this whole sky was that solid blue color, would be keying. And it's essentially the same way as getting rid of like green screen. And you basically just pick the color that you want to remove from the footage. The other key trick is luma key. Now that works really well if you want to get rid of like a tone in an image. So say the sky is really overexposed and the ground is really dark, you could easily just select out the lightness. Another way would be to manually mask it frame by frame using the pen tool. Some people say this is rotoscoping, but I just see it as masking. What I'm going to do is essentially another way of doing that, but a little bit more pro, is use the Rotor Brush up here. Now what you need to do is double click on the actual layer that you're going to work on. You now need to make your brush a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to do that by dragging up and holding down Command on my Mac. You then just draw all the area that you want to mask out. Whee! And then After Effects uses AI to select it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the brush smaller. Again, pressing Command and scrolling down. And then I'm going to use the Alt button, so it's a minus. And I'm just going to draw, whilst holding Alt, these bits. Try get rid. Another way of tidying it up is just by using this Refine Edge tool. And you can toggle what you can see by pressing these little alpha channels down the bottom here. So you see you've got the pink line, which I'm looking at now, and you've got this. And got the red. And it's not perfect, but it'll do for now. Okay, so as you can see, it is just calculating that for me. And what I want to do is just go across all of the time frame and just check where these pink lines are in accordance to where the camera is moving. Bring this along, and basically I think you can only do like 20 frames or something at a time whilst it's calculating, and just bring that along for your whole clip. Okay, so once it's done the rotoscoping all the way through your clip, you can just check where it's selected. And I'm pretty happy with the AI of that. It looks pretty accurate to me. You can play with like the feather and the smoothness of everything, which I might just do a little bit. Yeah. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click back into the composition to see how it looks. Whoa, look, we've got a tornado sky. Now, the annoying thing about this tornado footage is that the tornado itself is right smack bang in the middle of the frame where my man is. Now, I could change this by changing where the man is or where the actual footage is of the tornado. But I want to give it that apocalyptic, crazy sky feel, not just a regular storm feel. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to duplicate the tornado layer just by pressing Command C and then Command V. I'm going to flip that layer. What a flip-flop is. I should probably have a look at that. It's upside down, so I just want to like change the rotation of that. I just wanted it to flip horizontally. Okay, so I'm going to go into that tornado layer now, and I just want to mask the actual tornado itself. I'm going to feather it off quite a lot there for that mask. And then I'm going to go back into the compositions. So now as you can see, it's kind of blended in the two tornado footages as one. And I want this to be even more insane. So I'm going to, again, take the original, copy and paste it to another one. And just so I can see what I'm doing, I'm just going to hide those two. And I'm going to bring this one to be a bit bigger. And I'm going to pull it to the side there. I'm then going to go into that and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm just going to mask this area here. And feather that, which I'm just going to do down here in the mask section. And then pull these back open so I can see it. Okay, so now we've got 3 tornadoes. Look at that. But now, just like the original tornado footage, we need to pair these with the null object so that they move with the tracking camera. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to color correct all of this. So if you come into your effects and you go into color correction, I'm going to bring the Lumetri color down onto the beach layer. And I'm going to go into basic corrections first, and I'm going to bring that saturation down. And I'm going to bring the contrast up a touch. I'm going to bring the temperature down a touch as well, just to add in some more blues, essentially. Here in the creative section, I'm going to add faded film. I'm going to go into highlights. I'm just going to bring that highlight up a bit. But then I'm going to go into exposure and bring that down. Okay, with the tornado footage as well, I want it just to be a little bit more different. So I'm going to go into Lumetri color for that as well. And I'm just going to bring this onto there. And I'm going to go curves and I'm just going to bring that blue up a bit. I'm going to do the same for all these. You can copy and paste it, but I'm going to do them slightly different to each other. So I'm going to bring back in. Bring the blues up again. Just make that a little bit more contrast as well. Okay, so for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to leave that there. There is stuff I would change. I'd be a bit more accurate with my masking and stuff. There's a crispy line going on here and all sorts of little tiny miniature glitches going on. But for now, that'll do. Another way this could look super cool is adding in some lightning in behind those clouds, which I might do for another tutorial. But I just want to keep it pretty basic and straightforward for this one. I am going to be bringing more of these tutorials to my channel, so please be sure to like and subscribe if you did. And yeah, tag me in anything that you make using my tutorials and I'll give you a shout out in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this and it was pretty clear for you. Please let me know in the comments if it was any good.